Welcome to today's class. My name is Talisa, and today we are practicing yoga for the soul. All you need for today's class is your soul and your yoga mat. Come and join me in a seated position of your choice. You can close out your eyes or just lower your gaze to the floor or mat 2 or 3 feet in front of you, steadying our gaze to help steady our mind. You can find stillness, or you can bring a gentle swaying motion. Let's start to deepen our breath, bringing our awareness to the here and now, feeling the pressure of the ground beneath us. And just checking in with how we feel today. Acknowledge that we might have a lot on our plate. We might have a full to-do list. We might have a million emails to get through. But none of that matters right now. So set it aside. We can come back to that once we're done with this class. Let's take 3 rounds of box breathing to a count of 4. So if you're not familiar with it, we're going to inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold for 4 and repeat. Let's take one regular breath together, letting it go, and let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, lungs should be full, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Last round. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Return to your regular breath. Start to implement your ujjayi breathing if you're familiar with that. So it's that slight restriction in the back of the throat, making our breath more wave-like. If at any point during the class our breath gets away from us, which can happen, just try to slow it down and bring it back to our ujjayi breath whenever and wherever we can. Let's swivel around to come to a tabletop position, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And we're just going to rock back and forth, working into the wrists a little bit here. So really grip into the mat. Starting to lubricate through the hips, the knees as well. If you want to get into the ankles, you can tuck your toes. Getting some movement in the shoulder joint as well. Slight engagement in our core. Just ever so slightly sucking your belly button in towards your spine. Our core is our powerhouse. Let's make sure that it's strong and stable. Doing a few more rocks here. And settling into our tabletop position. Let's turn our fingers out to the side and shift side to side. We're just warming up into the wrists here because there can be a lot of weight bearing. We're not doing anything too extreme in today's class, but even downward facing dog can be a lot for some people's wrists. We're just going to prep them for what's to come. Come back to a neutral position and then turn the fingers to point towards your knees as much as you can. Gently shift the hips back and peel the heel of the palm up off the mat. Slow with this, nothing too extreme, no major movements. claw your hands like a cat getting comfy on a blanket all the way back around. And then we're going to do some wrist push-ups. So shift your weight back a little bit to start. Lift up your thumbs. And then again, peel the heel and the palm of the hand up off the mat. The fingers stay in contact. To make this more difficult, you simply shift your weight more forward, stacking your shoulders more over your wrists. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down. Deep breath, breathing fresh oxygen into those muscles that we just warmed up. Exhaling it out. We're going to start warming up through the spine with some classic cat-cows. So inhale, belly drops, tail lifts, chin lifts for our cow. Exhale, suck the belly in towards the spine, tuck your tail between your legs, and your chin comes towards your chest. Getting our throat lock into play here as well. Inhale for cow. Exhale around. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Come to a neutral position. And now imagine that your torso is stuck in a barrel and there's honey all along the inside of it. And we want to scrape all of that honey off with our rib cage. So we're circling our rib cage along the inside of that barrel in one direction and then reverse. Come back to neutral. And we're going to do some shoulder push-ups or scapular push-ups just to warm up into the shoulders a little bit more. So keeping the arms straight, let your chest drop through the arms, bringing your chest closer to the mat again without bending through the arms. And then push the mat away, rounding through the shoulder blades, creating as much space between your chest and the mat as possible. Do a few rounds of that. And come back to tabletop. Let's tuck the toes. Maybe walk your hands out in front of you, just a smidgen. And we're going to come into our downward facing dog. So we're all proportioned here. So play around with your distances. See if maybe making your down dog wider feels better, or maybe you need to shorten it up a little bit. I personally find I always take a little step in. It's easier to melt my heels down towards the mat. And now we really want to open up through the shoulders. So if you find you're really shifted ahead like this, pull your chest back towards your thighs. And a really good way to get into this as well is doing a double knee bend. So coming up on the toes, bend your legs as much as possible to get your rib cage and thighs to touch. So you can see if I'm shifted forward like this, I'll have to bend all the way down. So if you're really far away, just pull your chest through and then you'll be in contact. And from here, without moving the upper body, we then start to straighten the legs as much as we can to get your heels closer to the mat. If that's a goal of yours, think about flexing through the feet. This is going to activate the front line of the legs, which naturally helps to open up the back line. You can pedal it out here a little bit. And let's come up on both toes and lower the heels to one side to get a nice side body stretch. Up through center and lower them to the other side. Up through center, and I'm going to pick up the right hand, grab the outside of the left ankle, and bring my gaze past the left armpit. Bring that hand back, picking up the left hand, grabbing the outside of the right ankle. Gaze is past the right armpit. Slowly release. Let's bring the weight into the right foot, and we're going to pick up the left leg. Just doing little pulses here, using strength over momentum. So slow down the pulse a little bit more, using the glute, the hamstring, just warming up that back line of the left leg. And now bend through the left leg and open up the hips, trying to keep the shoulders as square as possible, so not letting them open up too much. Slowly release, right leg comes up. We're feeling it in the arms here. Don't worry, we're almost done. So doing the pulses with the right leg now. Pulse a little bit slower than you want to. Bend through the right leg, open up the hips, trying to keep the shoulders square. Let's lower that leg down, come onto the knees, and just come into a gentle child's resting pose. But we want to make this active, so really pull the hips back and reach the fingers forward. The elbows should be lifted up off of the mat. Let's walk our fingers over to the left side, getting a little side body stretch along the right side of the body. Come back through center and then walk the hands over to the right for a stretch along the left lateral side of the body. Let's release that. Come to a seated kneeling position. And we're going to do half tortoise and rabbit pose. So bringing the arms up overhead, hands into prayer, crossing just the thumbs. Bring your biceps as close to your ears as possible. Hug the rib cage in, so if it's flaring out, suck it in a little bit. Reach the fingers up, and as slow and controlled as possible, start to hinge forward. We want our pinkies to touch the mat first. From there, inch your hands a little bit further away from you. Maybe your face comes down towards the mat. Using strength, lifting all the way back up. Release the arms. For rabbit pose now, we're going to reach back behind us and we're going to grab our heels with our thumbs on the outside. So it's kind of like we're cupping our bum here. Bringing in our throat lock, we're going to tuck our chin tightly towards our chest and then round through the vertebrae to bring our forehead in between our knees. So let's tuck and round, forehead to our knees. And then from here, we lift the hips, pulling on the heels with the hands. Slowly unravel. Come all the way up. And we're going to walk the hands forward, tuck the toes, coming back into a downward facing dog. Let's get a little bit movement here. Pick up the right leg, three-legged dog. We're going to look forward, bring the right knee towards our chest, but then we're going to step our foot to the outside of our right hand, lower the back knee down, and tuck the back foot. You can come onto the knife edge of this front foot, let your knee fall to the side for lizard, really getting into the hips here. If you'd like more, lower down onto the forearms. No shame in having to come back up if you come down and try this and it's just too much for you today. Wherever you are, steady your gaze, steady your mind, steady your breath. You're down on the forearms, come back up. Take a round of breath here. And then we're going to pick up our right arm, reach it back behind us. And if you can bend through the back leg, maybe you're just reaching in the general vicinity for that foot. Maybe you can grab the foot And really let the hips sink down even more. Slowly release that side. Tuck the back toes as you lower it down. Lift up that back knee. Heel toe your front foot into the middle of your mat. And then we're going to straighten through that front leg. We're staying up on the back toe. Just melt your chest towards your leg. So again, we've got a little bit of a flat back here. We're not worried about getting forehead to shin. We want chest to thigh, and then maybe chin to shin. Come out of this a little bit, and we're just going to gently hop that back foot forward a little bit, and then keeping the front leg straight. We're going to bend through the left leg, and then reach the fingers back behind. Tented fingers. And bring the hands back forward. Bend through the front leg. And let's take a little revolve side angle. So bring the weight into the left hand. Twist open, looking past the right shoulder. Right arm reaches up. Slowly release that arm down. Let's swivel on that back heel. Bring our right hand to the inside of our right foot. And then left arm comes up. Our gaze, our drishti is past the left thumb. If you want to bind here, lower the left arm back behind you. And then the right arm reaches under that right thigh. Maybe you can find the fingers, maybe not. Either way, holding strong, finding ease within the effort. And then slowly release. Frame the front foot, let your knee drop to the side a little bit. Push the mat away, pick up the foot, step it back. Downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath here. Left leg comes up. Bend through the left leg as you bring it forward and step to the outside of your left hand. Lower the back knee down. Come onto the knife edge of this front left foot. Let your knee open to the side for our lizard. Now you can stay upright, or maybe you lower to the forearms. If you're down on the forearms, gently bringing yourself upright. And then let's bring our gaze past our left shoulder, reach the left hand back, bend through that back leg. If you can grab the foot, letting your hips sink down even more. Slowly release that back foot. Tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee, and heel toe that left leg a little bit more central. Straighten through the front leg. Again, with a flat back, bring your chest to your thigh, maybe your chin towards your shin. Come out of it a little bit and pop that back foot in slightly, bend through the back leg, reach the fingertips back. Bring your hands back forward. Extend through that back leg. Bring the weight into the right hand. Left arm reaches up. Or revolve side angle. Bring that hand down. Bring it to the inside of your left foot. Swivel on the back heel. Right arm reaches up. And if you're taking the bind, right arm lowers behind you. Left arm wraps under the left thigh. Keep your gaze past the right shoulder. Slowly unravel. Come to frame that front foot with your hands. Let your knee drop to the side as you push the mat away. Pick up the foot. Step it back. Downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath. Let's rise up high on the tippy toes and walk our feet to the middle of our mat. Ragdoll here. So grabbing for opposite elbows, shake your head yes and no, let the neck go. You can have a generous bend in your knees. And then with a deep inhale, release the arms and let's round up. 1 vertebrae at a time. We're going to do a little balancing sequence here. Let's start with tree pose. So you can set your foot, your right foot, wherever you'd like. If you bring it up and towards your thigh, push the foot in towards your thigh in towards your foot, squeeze through the glute of that standing leg, hands come through to heart center. Choose your focal point to help with your balance as well. And if you're feeling solid and you like to take this a little bit further, let's grow our branches. And then taking it further still, you can start to lean over towards that bent leg. Come back up through center. Hands come through to heart center. Release everything down. Other side. So grounding through the right foot. Left foot comes up wherever you had it on the other side. If you're in the inner thigh area, push the foot into the thigh, thigh into the foot, hands come through to heart center. Engaging through the glute of that standing leg. Choose your focal point, and if you want more, grow your branches. And then start to lean towards that bent leg. Come back up through center, hands through to heart center. Let everything go. Bring your hands to your hips. Pick up your right knee, so it's the height of your hip. Left hand comes to the outside of that right knee. You're going to bring your gaze past the right shoulder, and you can extend that arm back behind you. Now you're more than welcome to stay right here. If you want a little bit more, slide that left hand down to the knife edge of your right foot. If you want to progress further, let's start to extend through that right leg. If you keep a bend in your leg, that's totally fine. Check in with that standing supporting leg. Make sure it's strong and straight. And then slowly release. Bring the weight into the right foot, hands on the hips, left knee comes up, right hand to the outside of the left knee. Bring your gaze past the left shoulder. Extend that left arm back behind you. And you can stay here, or slide the hand down to grab the knife edge of that foot, and then maybe even extending. Check in with that standing leg. And slowly release. Let's step to the top of our mat. We're going to vinyasa our way down. So inhale, arms up, slight back bend here. Exhale, fold, generous bend in the knees. Ribcage to thighs, try to rip the mat apart with your feet. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step the feet back, lower to the knees, the forearms, and then pull your chest through, lifting the elbows as you pull through, and come into a gentle cobra. Let's bring the right forearm in front of us. Look past your left shoulder, bend through the left leg, and reach back for the top of the left foot with your left hand. And we're just pulling the heel towards our bum, maybe a little bit to the outside, getting a nice quad stretch. Think about tucking your tail between your legs and pull that left knee away from you. Slowly release, and let's do the other side. So left forearm comes down, look past the right shoulder, bend through the right leg, grab the top of the foot, and start to push it down firmly, but without forcing it. Tuck your tail between your legs, pull that knee away from you. Slowly release. We're now going to come to extend our left arm out to the side, bend through the right leg, roll onto the outside of the left hip. So palm of this left hand is down on the ground. And getting a nice shoulder, chest stretch, a little twist through the spine. You might even feel a bit of a stretch along the front side of that top bent leg. Slowly unravel. Come through center, extend the other arm. Bend through the left leg. Roll to the outside of that right hip. Settling and breathing into this side. Let's slowly unravel. Bring our forearms in front of us and come into a Sphinx pose. So to activate this a little bit more, try to pull your chest through your arms. Keep your gaze straight ahead, tuck your tail between your legs, and then imagine the back of your head pushing against an imaginary wall. Push it back hard against that wall, and you should really feel that area between your shoulder blades engage. If you're really slumped down into this, push the shoulders away from the ears. Pushing your head into that imaginary wall, and then slowly release. Bring your hands to either side of your chest. And let's come into a child's resting pose again. Taking a few rounds of breath. And checking in with how you feel. How is your soul doing to its very core? Gently rounding all the way up. Let's come into a comfortable seated position of your choice. Wherever you are, resting the wrists on the knees, palms facing up to signify openness, receptiveness. Point your fingers and thumbs gently touch. And we're going to take our 3 final breaths together. Let's take one normal round of breath here. Inhale. Exhale. And let's begin. Deep inhale through the nose. Lungs are full, and then exhale through the mouth. Completely empty them, letting everything go. Again, inhale. Inhale. Bring your hands through to heart center. Take a moment of gratitude for yourself, for the people in your life, for everything that you've got in your life. I hope your soul finds some peace. I thank you for joining me. Namaste.